For question 62, they want us to find the domain of this logarithmic function. What we know is that f must be greater than 0. And we know that because the equivalent exponential form of this particular function, we'll rewrite this as y equals the log base e, because natural log is log base e. In this equivalent exponential form, we would have e to the y equals the quantity x minus x squared. E is positive, it's approximately 2.718. Raised to a positive power is going to be positive, raised to the 0 power it's going to be 1, which is positive, and raised to a negative power it's still going to be positive, so x minus x squared must be greater than 0. So that's how we arrived at x minus x squared has to be greater than 0. From here, for what I know is that this x on the outside, okay, it must be greater than 0. Because if it's not, if I have a negative on the outside, unless I have a negative on the inside, okay, it's going to be an overall negative and it's not going to be greater than 0, so it needs to be greater than 0. And I also know that 1 minus x needs to be greater than 0. Now, for this second inequality, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add x to both sides, and I'm going to get that x has to be less than 1. Okay? So in order for x minus 1 to be greater than 0, x has to be less than 1. Okay? And if you take a look at these values, here, 1 minus x, obviously if you pick 1 or anything greater, it's going to be 0 or it's going to be negative. Okay? So, from this, what I see is that x has to be greater than 0 and it has to be less than 1. So, my domain then is 0 to 1, not including 0 and not including 1. So that's the domain for question 62.